Full meeting to order and then roll call. So Scott Finley here, Aaron Jennings absent, Susan Van Ness, and Roger Edwards. We have a quorum. All right.
So let's stand and on the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will move on to number 3, approval of the minutes for the meeting of October 13th, 2025. I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes. What do you guys have a chance? Okay. Minutes are approved. So number 4, general public comment. Does anybody have a public comment they would like to make? Seeing as no one would like to do a public comment, we'll move on to number 5, cab member commissioner announcements and comments. Commissioner Herman, do you have anything you want to announce? Okay. Okay. Do you guys have any? No? Okay. So we'll move on to item number 6, public safety updates.
Good evening, Derek Reed, the Time Chief of Truckee Meadows Fire, for the record. I have a list of calls for service for the month of October for North Valley. It's encompassing station 244 and 240. 0 fires, 90 EMS calls, 14 motor vehicle accidents, 1 hazmat, public assist 16, good intent calls 72, and false alarms 4. And I believe it was this cap that asked me last time about what's a good intent call, and with 72 being the second highest, I was going to give a little bit more explanation on what kind of calls those are. Basically, it's a 911 call generated with good intent. They think that there's something wrong. That could be anything from an odor to a water leak to a smoke sighting or a thought of like an illegal burn. They're not emergencies, but we still respond and hopefully have a positive impact or direction for the person that made the service call. So unless you have any other questions on that, clearing that up from the last meeting. The only other thing I have is open burning is open for the season through April of 2026. And that is dependent on weather and other factors. Best place to find out whether it's a permissible burn day is going to tmfpd.us, and right there on the home page, you scroll down and it'll tell you whether it's a permissible burn day or not. Still need a burn permit, and you can also obtain those online. You have any questions? Awesome. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Good evening. Lieutenant Nick Tone, Washoe County Sheriff's Office, Watch Commander for the Patrol Division on front side of the week. So you guys get to see me every month. A couple of updates for you guys are every quarter we publish data on our activities. And the 3rd quarter data was just published. So I have a little bit to share for you guys specific to North Valleys. Excuse me. DUI. One of the sheriff's goal crimes is increased DUI enforcement. Because of that, we have a new unit called A-Ride. It's a long acronym, but essentially it's 2 guys where that is all they do. They have a higher level of training. They go out to find DUIs, DUI offenses, and with that application, it shows that we usually have a 3-year average of the 3rd quarter of 14 DUIs. Pushing out these new specialized units, we're up to 21. 50% increase. I don't think that has anything to do with there being more or less drunk drivers on the road. We have caught a lot more in this quarter with the application of enforcement specific to DUI. One thing I'd like to talk about really quickly that I mentioned all the other cabs, just because of the significant increase, is fraud. Across the county, fraud offenses have increased dramatically. Specific to North Valleys, typically for the third quarter, 3-year average, we had 18 fraud cases. We're up to 29. So the nature of those frauds are almost universally some kind of phone scam, some kind of scammer, online, internet, what have you. The most common, type of fraud that you're going to get is somebody calling, impersonating us, impersonating the district attorney's office, or some other authority. I just want to make it perfectly clear that under no circumstance will we ever call you and ask you for money. For any reason. Especially, and this also goes for businesses. One of the biggest crimes we're having right now related specifically to fraud is cryptocurrency scams. There is no business, legitimate business, and there's no government entity that will call you and ask you to pay for any way, shape, or form of payment or service using cryptocurrency. No one will ask you to go put your money into a cryptocurrency ATM, of which there's hundreds in our area. Nobody will ask you to do that for any legitimate purpose. They're very convincing. If you're just not sure, call us. If I'm nearby, I'll come take the phone and talk to you. Not a big deal. So I just want to make that part perfectly clear. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. There's even cryptocurrency machines at very legitimate places. Costco has them behind the counter before you get your sign up for your membership. It is a legitimate way to buy cryptocurrency. It is a legal machine offering a legal service, but nefarious actors have taken advantage of that. There's one other piece with fraud. If through whatever circumstances you have found yourself a victim of identity theft, be it somebody just stole your information, be it one of the fraudsters, gotcha. Whatever circumstances happened, or if you know somebody that has, the Washoe County Sheriff's Office is a certifying agency for a program run through the Nevada Attorney General's office, where if you are a victim of identity theft, you can get this card that shows, along with the case number, that you are the victim of identity theft. What you can use that card for is to bring it to your bank, financial institutions, you're dealing with mortgages, whatever else. It's basically proof to show that there's a reason why your credit is frozen, your financial life is a little confusing or a little upside down. That's a program they offer. If you have any other questions on it, feel free to reach out. You can also go to the Nevada Attorney General's website, print that out, call one of us. We'll look up your case number, verify everything, certify it, turn it in so you can go ahead and be part of that program. Very little known thing they offer, but I have heard from people that have used it. It has been beneficial.
It does what?
Been beneficial.
Oh.
And for calls for service, just overall activity in North Valleys, some way, somehow, this quarter was to the call average. 772 average calls for service over the last 3 years, 772 911 calls this quarter. Total activity is up significantly. And that's a reflection of our deputies out doing proactive work, pulling people over, looking for DUIs, subject stops. As we talked a couple months ago, going after some of the side-by-sides and some of the illegal bicycles and the e-bikes riding around causing problems. A lot of proactive activity. That has increased the total number of things that the deputies are doing from an average of 2,401 activities, our average in the third quarter, to 2,924 this last quarter. So deputies have been extremely busy out there. And of course, like I said a couple months ago, we do rely on you guys. Give us a call if you see anything. I've got deputies in the area. Sometimes they're here, there, and everywhere. There's a lot of calls and not a lot of us, but they do a pretty good job. Any questions for me? Sir?
Is there anything we can do about harassing phone calls? I must get 20 a day.
You and me both.
I know. They got my number, you know. Stop signing up.
It's basically somewhere along the way, your data was compromised, and all they say is keep blocking numbers, and it doesn't seem to do anything. So hopefully the feds have a solution, but I do not, unfortunately.
I've got a question. So with the phone calls and fraud, is there a certain group that's being more targeted, such as our elderly population?
Yes and no. A little bit of it is random. I've told this story to a couple of cabs, so excuse me for some of you that attend multiple cabs, but I've had the very unusual and very, very unique call it a privilege of having a scammer call me impersonating me.
Oh,
That was your name? That was fantastic. The best thing you can do with the scammer, the longer you keep them on the phone, they get so mad. So lasted about 45 minutes. He threatened to send deputies to arrest me multiple times,
Wow.
so on and so forth. But there is actually, for anybody here who falls into that category, one new target population we found. Elderly, absolutely, just from wherever they're getting their data from, probably where they're getting a lot of their success. However, professionals, doctors, lawyers, everything, scientists, university professors. Basically, what they're doing is they're calling and saying, hey, we subpoenaed you to court as an expert witness because you are the smartest expert in your field ever, and you didn't show up. You owe us court fees. And sometimes it works. So anybody can be a target. If it honestly comes down to JDLR, just doesn't look right. It doesn't sound right, give us a call. Nobody's going to call you with anything that's that emergent. The more nefarious ones we get, so you're aware. We have people call voice actors in the background. AI impersonating people's voices is kind of in its infancy. We haven't seen a lot of it yet, but it does happen. You'll have somebody call and say, they find out some name of your family members. Oh, say you have a grandson named Chris that lives in Virginia. They call, say, we have Chris here in Virginia. They found this information through the internet. He's at the hospital. He's going to die unless you send us $5,000 for his operation right now. If we don't get it, we're wheeling him out of the hospital and he's not going to make it. So now they put the pressure on and it's panic. Sometimes they're successful with that as well. There's no depth and there's no end to what they will try to get a couple bucks. It's just time.
My grandson was in jail in Mexico. Sit right across the table from me.
I had one, I heard on the radio today that there's a new one out for the DMV. Kind of even going to the point of making people pay to book their appointment.
Yeah.
What do you know about that?
So it's brand new, but again, they're impersonating an agency, another government agency, and anything to get a couple bucks. That's where we just have to take the standard rule. None of us are going to call and ask you for money retrospectively. You cannot pay for your Warrington target cards. You cannot, we're not going to call and ask for that. The DMV is not going to call and ask, say, oh, hey, I see you have an appointment. You owe us money retrospectively or into the future. That will not happen. If you get a phone call from us, it's going to be for a business purpose, and it will be very obvious that it's a deputy and what they're asking you is legitimate. But in terms of money, business, anything like that, if you are in some kind of a civil dispute, evictions or what have you, a deputy will come in person and have a conversation. And then you guys can figure out what you need to figure out. Nobody's going to call and have anything like that. And again, if you're just not sure, 785 WCSO, one of us will pick up, ask for a deputy. That's the non-emergency number for dispatch, or you can just Google it, Washoe County non-emergency, and they'll send that to one of us, a deputy, a sergeant, or a lieutenant. Whoever's on and available will call you back and answer any questions you have. It's never a bother.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? No? All right.
I did get one for the police department, is that right?
It depends on what they said. So it depends. Sometimes we will call for legitimate purposes, such as, hey, your car's out here. They're going to tow it. Please move it. We're not asking for money. That's more of just like, hey, can we fix the problem? But if they're asking for money,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah,
Certainly.
Awesome.
Not even for police ball or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That guy has called me a couple times and he has a real deep voice. He has that real, somebody you want to narrate an audiobook kind of a voice. I talked to him for a little while and I found out that's AI. A lot of people get that and you can talk him into a loop where he starts just repeating himself. It's that one is very convincing, but also.
Sorry, you said 785
WCSO. I think that's 99276.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Certainly.
Thank you.
We will move on to item number 7, waste management services.
Members of the CAB. Commissioner Herman, everybody here. I'm Kimber Kostelecki for Waste Management. Thank you for inviting me back to talk a little trash with you. Again today, I prepared a quick little 60-minute slideshow for you. Just kidding, it's really not that long. Really not that long. All right, so if go to slide 2. Thank you very much. So what we're going to cover tonight, residential service levels, our bear resistant carts, winter weather collection, experimental collection truck, our green waste options, and how to manage your account online and learn more about your services. And then if you have any questions that I haven't answered, I'm happy to talk about that with you. Next slide, please. So starting off with our residential services, I do want to mention that we are not going to talk at all about commercial services today. If you have questions about that, I can answer those for you later. But since we're all mostly interested in residential services, we're going to go ahead and look at that. So as a resident in Washoe, unincorporated Washoe County, I want to be specific about that because people in Reno or Sparks will call and say, I'm also in Washoe County. This is a service agreement that is specific to unincorporated Washoe County. So the pricing and service levels here are only for those of you who live in unincorporated Washoe County. So your service levels are your 96 trash, 96 recycle. Your average cost for that is $35.05. I don't know why I just said average. $35.05 is pretty specific. That is the cost for that service level. $64.96, $29.04 per month. $32.64 is the smallest available service level in unincorporated Washoe County. That's $26.57 per month. And if you're a senior, meaning if you're about 70 years old, I know that's not a typical senior age, but that's what the agreement references as a senior. If you're over 70, you can get a 64 trash and a 64 recycle for $27.83 per month. It is not a discount, it's a service rate. So if you want that senior level, you're going to get those size containers. Also, you have 25 extra waste stickers for curbside collection per year, but they don't expire. So if you haven't used them yet, you're going to want to use them. You're going to get some more at the end of the year, well, end of December, early January. You get 4 trips to the transfer station. You don't have to show anything but your ID or your bill when you get there. Your account will come up on the computer screen and they'll check it off. You get 4 of those per year. You can use them throughout the year or you can use them all on the same day if you want to. That's 3 cubic yards per trip. So that's a standard pickup truck load or a small dump trailer. And then it's November. So in November and May, you get 6 extra bags at the curb per week on your regular collection day. And those are without stickers. So in addition to the stickers that you get 6 extra bags without stickers during the month of May and November. Next slide, please. And so we have some additional service options that you may or may not know about at the transfer stations for free or reduced cost. You can get rid of your motor oil, your antifreeze, your car batteries, large appliances and sharps. If you have diabetes and you have needles that you want to get rid of, you can get rid of those for free at the transfer station. When I say free or reduced, something like motor oil, that's 5 gallons for free. If you go above that, there will be a price for that. Large appliances excludes refrigerators. The state charges a fee to take refrigerant out of those. So we pass that fee through, but most of your large metal appliances will take because we don't want them in the rest of the waste stream and they are recycled. You can add a recycling trash or bear cart if you're interested in doing so. So we hear a lot of feedback now from people that recycling doesn't happen often enough. They want to recycle every week and not every other week. And that's good. We're glad to see that that has become so popular. But when the contract was first rolled out in unincorporated Washoe County, not everybody wanted to recycle. So splitting the difference there was offering it every other week. That meant hiring half the number of drivers, buying half the number of extra trucks. So it kept that cost lower for recycling. But now people who really want to recycle, if they need that double level of recycling, you can add a recycling cart to your service level. You can also add a second trash cart. If you have a big family and you need another trash cart, you can add that to your account. Or you can add a bear cart if you're having problems with animals or a lot of wind. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. You can add yard service for free with a medical note. So if you live in an area where your cart is not more than 50 feet from your home and you are not physically capable of getting your car out to the street anymore because you're elderly or infirm, the driver will come and get it for you at no extra cost. If you're not elderly or infirm and you still just don't want to take your cart out to the curb every week, you can pay for that service. That's something that you can add to your account. You can buy extra waste stickers if 25 isn't enough for you every year. And if your car is cracked or broken, or if it's just really stinky and you don't like it anymore, we can swap it for you once a year at no additional cost. Next slide, please. So this is what a bear cart looks like. This bear cart here is from Washoe County, or excuse me, not incorporated Washoe County, but Mount Rose Highway area. So the carts, as you can see, this is a standard cart. These carts are a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker. They cost more to get them from the supplier. And that's why there's a higher cost to add them to your account. So for a 96-gallon animal resistant cart, the monthly cost is $43.61, which is about $8 more, between $8 and $9 more than your regular monthly cart, 96-gallon cart. They are still made by the same company, which is Toter. They have an auto gravity lock, which means that, as you can see right here, this is one that was attacked by a bear. The bear can roll it around, the bear can turn it upside down, but unless that bear can pick it up and hold it up off the ground, the lid won't fall open. That's what the truck does. It holds it upside down. And so it empties it the same way that your normal cart would be emptied, but a bear can't get into it. And of course it's locked, so the wind can't lift it either. And they're also very popular with our homeless population because they lock and they have wheels. What I like about this picture is people will ask, well, how come the recycling carts don't come in a locking version? The reason is because bears are smart and bears don't care about recycling. There's not enough payload in there, so they don't bother them. So this customer was so thrilled, didn't believe it, absolutely would not believe me that that was the case. So he was thrilled when this happened, came out, saw that this bear had spent some good time with this cart here, and that's his recycling. It's full. And the bear didn't even bother it, didn't even look inside. Next slide, please. Thank you. So yeah, it was pretty nice today. We're going to talk about winter weather so we can get prepared for it. Next slide. So when winter weather hits, we're going to call and tell you if your trash service is impacted. The first thing I would ask is, please leave that cart out until 5 o'clock. We will call you by 5 o'clock if the driver's going to make it there that day, or if they're going to come back the next day so that you will know what's going on. But sometimes you'll look outside and think, wow, my street's great. The county came by, they plowed it, looks clear, HOA took care of it, but it may not be the road in your neighborhood. It might be the road to your neighborhood. Some of the things that our drivers will encounter are if it melted or snowed the day before, it may melt a little bit in the afternoon and then becomes ice build up overnight. So that first run of the day, they're just slipping all over the place. Tires or chains are grabbing for traction. So they stop in front of a house, then they start again, and those tires have to grab. And if you're on a dirt road, that can be especially difficult for them, and they'll make those marks in front of every house. I have to admit, every time that I'm guilty of this, I am a driver who will claim the middle of an open road. If there are no tracks on it, I will drive right down the middle because I'm not sure where the edges are. But if you're a garbage truck coming around that corner, I am your worst nightmare. So they're very slow and careful to leave room to pass for other drivers out there. And then also, this is really difficult to see, but going up a hill, may not be that challenging. Maybe they can get traction going up a hill, but they got to turn around and come back down that hill. So they're a little bit nervous about how they approach those things and what they think they're going to face when they turn around and come back the other way. Thank you, Casey. Also, a garbage truck isn't like a regular truck. It's a little bit heavier. It steers a little bit differently. So I'm gonna try to go through these really quickly. They weigh about 60,000 pounds when they're completely full. That rear wheel drive design means that the back of the truck is getting heavier, but it steers with the front. So as that back of the truck gets heavier, that control becomes a little bit looser in the front. They have traction challenges. It seems to make sense that a heavier vehicle has better traction, but that's not always the case. It can drive them into the street as well. They have turning risks. They need a wider area to turn around. And as the roads get wet and frozen, the shoulders become softened and they can slip off of the road. And as you can imagine, getting a tow truck out on that same road is going to be challenging. And it can damage the truck, so we try not to tow them. The tow truck doesn't want to get out there. They don't want to get stuck. And we don't want to block the day or block the road for the rest of traffic. So anybody else who needs to get home, because they weren't work all day long, is now just turning to find a garbage truck and a tow truck. But next slide, please. Commissioner Herman, due to multiple requests from electeds like yourself and from some of your constituents, we have purchased a few of these guys. These are our little trucks. We've added them to the fleet. So that's a Ford F600 commercial truck body. The downside of that, it has better control, it has better ability to get through some of these limited streets. But the downside is it can't pick up as many homes. So that means running all the way back to the transfer station to empty it before it goes all the way out, which is going to lead to a longer route. So if we can avoid running them out, we do. But where they're necessary, they're going to be used strategically. Again, you will be notified by phone, text, or email if you, whatever's on your account, if we're running late and we can't get you. And then to prevent extra accumulations in case we run into a really heavy winter storm like we did a few years ago, they will still resort to those big snow boxes out where people can dump their garbage if they're having trouble, if we're having trouble reaching you or vice versa. Next slide, please. All right.
Kendra, a quick question?
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious on the topic of icy roads. What time of day do your drivers start their routes?
Our drivers leave the yard at 6 a.m. Most of the time there's a code that they can't be in front of the house before 7 a.m. But they want to be ready to go right when they can. Thank you. That's a good question. And Brian, this is just for you. We're going to talk about a little bit of green waste. Brian and I have been working on this a lot. Casey, do you mind next slide, please? Residential collection is not yet available. Brian and I are working on that piece, but we are accepting drop-offs. So if you've been out to Lockwood recently, you may have seen some big, what look like big piles of dirt on a big flat open field. That's where we're processing green waste. So we're taking it at the transfer station. We're allowing people to drop it off at Lockwood. We're grinding it up and turning it into dirt. We are still working on the circularity of that. So we don't have a really good plan for returning it back to the community. Another thing that Brian and I are working on, because maybe the county could benefit from that, or the schools could benefit from that. I do want to call out the pricing. So they have a saying, the more often you touch something, the more expensive it becomes. So trash goes straight into a hole. It's the least expensive of the solutions. Just bury it and let it go. Because composting requires water, it requires machinery to turn it, and then it requires some back-end solution for how we get it trucked back out of there and into a place there that it needs to be. It is more expensive to process it than trash. So right now, our price, if you wanted to intentionally put it in the green waste pile versus the landfill, the price is $10 more per yard than trash. So. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I did here. This is too small, I'm sure to read in the back, but Commercial Row, if you go there, you're dropping off trash for 4102 per yard. If you drive it all the way out to Lockwood, you get a break on the price because you did the trucking piece of it, so it's 2671 per yard. But if you take your green waste there, Commercial Row is accepting green waste, it's gonna be 5102 per yard. And at Lockwood, you're looking at about 3671 per yard. And then I think that's it. Casey, next one. Oh, sorry. How to manage your account, learn more about services. I can't stress this enough. If you've had your house for 20 years and you haven't updated your profile in your garbage account, we want you to do that so that when we need to reach you about a weather delay or any other service updates, that we have the correct information to reach you. And so there are several ways you can do that. Next slide, please, Casey. You can come and see us at Vassar. We're open 8:30 to 4:30. You can do any business that you need to do there. I know that's not necessarily convenient for the North Valleys area. But if you don't want to do that, you can go online at wm.com. You should be able to manage all of your services there. You can reach us by phone at 775-329-8822. In between these two, there's also a chat option. Nobody seems to love the chat option, so if you like chatting, you can do that. But you're probably somewhere in between that AI and customer service agent that's not local. Or my favorite way to manage my garbage services is the MyWM app. So you can change your service levels there, you can check on your bill, and you can order a cart swap through that app, and it is evolving all the time. Yes.
Do any of you have a question?
I don't understand, what would we manage our account? What would we be doing? Updating our birth date?
You know, first of all, I love that you asked the question because mostly I love it when people don't think about their garbage service. I want you to never have to think about your garbage service. But if you are having a question about your bill, if you are not getting phone calls or emails and you know that your service is being interrupted, then you might want to go and check and just make sure that we have the correct information for you so that you're getting what you're entitled to with your account.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Piggyback off what he said, last week up the wind, my trash can went up from down here back to the yard. And I went on my account and seen the truck pick up Mike's trash as he rolled to my house and up in the yard. So that was very convenient to see that. Then I pushed the dispute button. A day later, they came pick it up.
Oh, good.
I was in the house and didn't know what was coming. She called me on the phone and said, he's out there waiting for the trash can to come down to the curb. I was like, oh, okay. And I ran it down there, and then I look back on my account, I see me on there on the next picture with bringing the trash.
That's fantastic. Check out the video.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
video. Yes.
that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Brian.
What percentage of customers do you have information for? Contact information if you needed to call.
So all of them. All of them have some contact information, right? Because we're gonna bill you, but did you put in the correct phone number or did you put in a fake phone number because you didn't want to be called? We don't know until we try calling it. Or sometimes people have spam blockers and that can keep us out too. So it's a good question. We have information for everybody. I just can't say if it's true or not.
I'm only saying that because I received the complaint calls at Washoe County. Hi, everyone, and Brian, sustainability manager, and that's a common complaint. I never heard, they never called me, they haven't come by, and I've said, you know, gotta make sure your information's updated. And I thought I remember you telling me that you don't have information for about a third to a half, but I stand corrected.
So to your point, I probably was talking about email addresses for
Okay.
For outreach, yeah. Yeah, and we do have, if I were to go through a page through some accounts, we've got 999-999-9999, which is generally not a good telephone number.
Earl Stipple, 5 Ramsey Way. So he was talking about the bear proof and all that in totes. The major wind we get up here, I don't mind doing it because I try and keep my ditches cleaned out. With the overrun and all that. The county's behind because they're overrun. Get all that. But when we get high traffic areas of wind, I lose trees at least once a season. Lose fences, all that basic stuff. So what's the chances of getting them heavier? We're not gonna fly all over, because if that's a lids fly over, when I get 60-mile-an-hour gusts, ain't no joke.
Yeah, I honestly don't have a perfect solution for that. On a day like we had recently, it'll move. It won't fly open, but it'd probably move.
Oh, no, it went in the ditch.
Yeah.
That's, and like I say, I don't mind doing something about it, but the problem is, as I've gotten older, I get surprised, I used to get in the ditch and get the stuff out of there, all that stuff going on. And I don't want to put a rock on top of it or something like that, it just makes it harder for the driver to stop and deal with that. But that's the other way that option got.
Well, so I apologize because I misunderstood you the first time. I thought you were asking if the bear totes would be wind resistant as far as moving. If we got those super high winds. I can't say for sure that they wouldn't move if the wind gets high enough. If it's high enough to blow down a fence, it's probably high enough to move that cart. But what I think you're asking me is what can you do with a regular cart to keep it from opening with the wind? So those carts weren't designed to not open in the wind. You can probably put a piece of masking tape across it as long as it's, you're not taping it so hard that when the truck tips it, it won't open. Because if the truck tips it and it won't open, the driver's not coming back for that container. That's on you. But yeah, you can use some masking tape and keep that lid down. Is it gonna be wind resistant? I don't know.
I mean, like the scale.
Yeah. Do you mind if she started first and I haven't come back to her yet.
I fill the recycling bin completely. What can I do with my excess recycling?
So 2 options, right? If you fill the recycling bin now, and once every other week isn't enough for you, you can add a second recycling cart to your account. Now you gotta have room for 3 carts, but you'll get twice the amount of recycling. If you just want to bring it in and drop it off, there are yellow bins at the transfer station, which are for free recycling drop off. They're intended for people who live in apartments who don't have the option to recycle at their home. But you can bring your extra recycling in for free too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you trying to cut me off?
No, I just had a question.
Okay.
As far as the weight goes of those cans, yeah, it's a problem. Especially if you don't have a lot of trash. So can people fill a bag full of water, garbage bag full of water, and put them in it to weight them down or that kind of thing?
Can you help me understand what you mean by the weight is a problem?
The weight or lack of weight is a problem in the winter.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't have a very full garbage can with a lot of weight in it,
Mm-hmm.
can you take the hose and put water in the garbage can?
Why would you? No.
We're talking.
It would gain weight.
Wind.
We have had in a lot out here and it's
Very.
talking about it blows it over, right?
I've been known to put steel in it just to make it stay put. Now,
Those trucks get really heavy.
yeah, of course they do, but it's a problem.
They're always blowing into the ditch.
Yes, they are.
We get a lot of wind out here.
So
Our ditches are 4
So
feet
he's
deep.
suggesting put some weight in.
sure, or you might consider building an enclosure. We've got customers in Washington.
Can't do that because we're on narrow roads.
Yeah, we have a different setup out here.
Okay.
You need to drive our roads. You need to come
Oh,
drive.
no, trust me. I've been up there
To go
and
on.
every red block, and that's what we're trying to do, right? We've got unique situations everywhere we go. If your container isn't heavy enough,
The
I
other
don't know,
problem
I don't
is-
understand I don't understand the question though.
Not actually, not a question. It's how do you weight the container down so the wind does not carry it into the ditch and it dumps when it gets in the ditch.
But it's not only the wind, even a little bit of wind could cause it to go into the ditch because Washoe County also has set the roads up so they're crowned. Okay, so when you put it on the edge of your driveway, it wants to roll back into the ditch because the street is crowned to roll into the ditch. So you're taking a brick and you're making a block to stop the wheels from rolling backwards into the ditch to begin with. I have 2 cinder blocks to keep it from rolling to begin with. So then whenever the wind hits it, it automatically takes the lid, blows the lid back, tips the whole thing over, and there goes your trash.
So I'm gonna use an example, make it easy. This is the tote, okay? You got this lid up here. The tote itself is just a square box on wheels. With a no rust surface in the bottom, it skids on pavement or gravel easily. This thing's sitting here, gust of wind comes along, first thing that happens, the lid flops up. Garbage goes all over the place. Your guys don't have enough time to process, get out and pick it up, so we've got to do the same thing over
But
again.
get a very resistant cart though, and that lid will lock and it won't fly open.
Yeah, if out here, this area in particular, because we got the foothills around us, the wind is like, there are times, certain times of the day, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock maybe. The gusts will come through, and I've got the top of Lemon Drive, right below the airport. So that area there gets inundated from below, or down the flat, right in Lemon Valley itself, whole different ballgame.
I'm not gonna stand up here and pretend like I know how to stop wind. I'm not.
No. I'm not actually, I just want you to understand what he's trying to say about the. We cannot keep it.
Earl, so basically what I'm hearing is the solution probably is you would either need to be creative with like cinder blocks, or you would need to purchase one of the bear locking containers so your trash doesn't fly up.
Yes,
Essentially.
yeah, you
Okay.
can lock the lid that way.
Okay.
Okay, but then it goes back to, even with the bear locking, where it comes into another problem is, even with the bear locking container, we still have the issue of, if we don't get up in time in the morning, because we put them out at 9. If we're not up in time to get out there and we don't realize that they're in the ditch, they drive right on by and they will not pick them up out of the ditch.
Well, I mean, I guess if anybody has a solution to this problem,
I don't have a solution, but we do have Catherine Niarte online who has a question.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
If Catherine, if you can unmute yourself.
Hi, yeah, so my question is with regards to the recycle. I've actually gotten the fine notice for bagging my recycle because we do struggle out here in Rancho Haven with the wind as well, and having everything in there loose almost invariably means I have the road covered in loose cans from either my property or my neighbor's property. And is there a reason that we cannot bag recycle in that tote to prevent that from happening, like in clear bags?
Yeah. So her question for anybody who couldn't hear it is, WM, if you put something that is not recyclable in your recycling container, and that includes bagging the recyclables, we will let you know that we cannot take it. It's not a recyclable material. And the reason why bags are not accepted in single stream recycling is because there are actual humans on the line that are sorting out trash from the recyclables. And so when a bag comes across the line, that conveyor belt really quickly, they don't know what's in there, and people do terrible things. And so opening a bag could introduce them to sharps of any sort. So we don't accept recycling in bags, which I understand is a problem with the wind. And also the bags will get wrapped around sorting equipment later down the line. So if there was a way to punch that bag open and loose everything, that would interfere with the mechanics on the next step of the line.
I actually have a question, and this is just an idea, just from based on what I've heard everybody saying. Is there a way WM could maybe invent or something like some sort of lock for our lid, not to keep animals up, to keep them from flying open, that would allow them to still be dumped?
Then the locking carts.
That's what I'm asking. Is there one? Because I don't need one to keep out animals. I don't have that problem.
No, you can use that cart for anything. You can use it for
Yes.
your animals.
But it includes an increased cost. Is there a different way to do that for people that are on a budget or something like that? It's just an idea. Is it something just like a latch that would fly open when it was knocked upside down? It doesn't need to keep out animals, just something that would allow something to stay shut.
Sure. And I totally hear what you're saying. And I think that because when this agreement was rolled out, they went with the cheapest options possible to make it as palatable to as many people as they could. Instead of, for instance, up on the hill, where they just introduced the locking carts, right? And that's just your standard fee. So instead of having everybody come up to a certain level, everybody was started at a lower level with the option to go to that locking cart if they wanted to.
But you guys don't have it for recycling either, so this would be helpful for recycling as well.
Well, you could do it if you wanted to. We can make you one. If you wanted to pay for the heavier cart, because the investment of the cart itself, it's a more expensive cart, like a Lexus versus a Toyota, you know?
Not something we're interested in. I'm just making a suggestion. Is there something like maybe we could buy like a $5, just like little like plastic tab or something like that would help keep things shut for people that don't need like bear-proof ones? It's just an idea. I'm not saying I expect an answer from you, but from what I'm hearing people saying, that would be very helpful, very appreciated.
Thank you. So I actually have two questions. With what people were saying about having options with the cart. Is it possible, are we allowed to modify the basic trash can with having some like Velcro on it? That way the Velcro would hold it and you could dump it and the weight would that be okay?
So I'm not gonna say it's okay.
Okay,
I'm not gonna say it's not okay either,
okay.
because if you do it and then the lid doesn't open when the truck.
Yeah, of course.
So you're not coming back to it again.
But I mean, like, I think like Walmart or wherever, there are places they sell like Velcro that'll hold 2 pounds and something like that. The lid should open when it dumps. So that's just something I'm gonna put out there. So, or even that. The other question I have is, so with the recycled waste, you have plastic and glass, and so I'm assuming that ends up being the two were separated. What happens to that recycled material? Is it like the glass or the plastic melted down? What happened?
Glad that you asked this because I failed to include it in my presentation. So we have a website. It's renalrecycle.com. Anybody can come and take a tour of our work. Anybody, any member of the public or any classroom. We also do groups that can't come to us. But you go to renalrecycles.com and come and see what happens. But to answer your question, so broad strokes, everything that comes in goes over a conveyor belt. Our first cut is to take away as much trash as possible. So that goes straight to the landfill, out having a greater greenhouse gas footprint of storing it further. The next step is skimming off the cardboard. So anything that's light and flat floats across these wheels where the plastics would get stuck. And we put that into bales and send that separately over to commodity warehouse in Sacramento. The next step, I'm sorry, also at that time, our plastic, I keep looking at Ryan because he's been through this tour, plastic and glass falls through that screen that cuts off the cardboard. The glass is broken. The glass does go back to Lockwood as an alternate daily cover. The primary reason for that is glass is very heavy to ship, and there isn't a good back end market in California, and there are no back end markets yet in the state of Nevada. There were, we would take it there. Some of our plastics may later go to Southern Nevada because they are doing a plastics plant there, but right now it goes to Sacramento. Anything else, our papers go to Sacramento, so it goes to a bigger, it does its first cut in Reno and then goes to a bigger mousetrap. Which we have videos of if you want to see it in Sacramento. And then those commodities are sent to a remanufacturer. Assuming that there's a market for them. If there's no market for them and that can happen, then we'll hold on to them until somebody will purchase.
Awesome. Does anyone have any final comment? Commissioner Herman?
I can tell from the picture of the new small truck. Are they four-wheel drives?
That's a really good question. Yes, they are. Mhm.
Question for you that I get all the time that you can answer.
Yeah.
We take prescription drugs from individuals all the time at the sheriff's office, but in terms of sharps containers, if somebody has a sharps container, do they have to wait in a long line with all the dump trailers, or can they park and walk it up?
We prefer that they drive through just so that they don't get hit by a vehicle going through there.
Sure, perfect.
Thank you. Thanks for encouraging to come to us.
Awesome. Well, it seems like that's it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that. Yeah.
So don't forget, they need to still attached to somebody.
We will be moving on to item number 9. Neighborhood development.
We have item 8 as well.
Oh, item number 8, green waste. Oh, okay.
Fire, Ron, you can't get out of that.
Yeah.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I thought Ken was gonna cover it all, but I could add a few more things. My name is Brian Befford. I am Sustainability Manager for Washoe County, and I work with WM for waste-related stuff. And we're trying to work on greenwood. And so I will say, in the conversations that I have with people in the community, the two most popular comments I get is, I want more solar panels on more rooftops. Where can we get solar panels for our house? And why aren't we composting more? We want more compost. Kendra alluded to the challenges we face. There are numerous challenges. Our health department has regulations. We don't want rats. We don't want smell. We don't want diseases. You don't want the smell of something smelly going on next door upwind from you. So composting operations are severely restricted. Waste management also holds the sole right to haul anything from your property that is garbage related. Do I have that close?
It's correct with the caveat that the reason we have that right is because Devon's case.
Yes, right, of course. Right, but I'm just trying, that contract is very lawyer. And so I'm just trying to make sure I have the language correct. We are trying to support waste management, WM, in increasing their composting and green waste activities. I think, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, I will say Trucking with Fire also has an active fuels reduction green waste program. And they spend attention. I don't have the details, so I'll stop before I start making too much stuff up. But they will bring the chipper and the trucks to different neighborhoods to help them reduce their fuels during fire season. And so if that's something that is of interest and you think would be helpful here, feel free to call 311 at the county, reach out to me, reach out to Truckee Meadows Fire, and we'll be happy to talk about planning something. I was just at Washoe County Parks today at Rancho San Rafael, where we were talking about green waste. They have a lot of leaves, a lot of branches, and trying to get those to get some dumpsters that are dedicated to green waste, trying to make them available for WM for your operations as well. And I know there's interest in community drop-off areas for green waste, and maybe up here would be a good opportunity for that. would be happy to coordinate with the cab, with parks, with Truckee Meadows Fire to put up dumpsters, and maybe we could do a community cleanup event where WM has some dumpsters. Maybe we do electronic waste at the same time with Hero Environmental. Maybe we could do some green waste at the same time. Would be happy to work on planning that maybe once or twice a year. The challenge that we have is that if we were just to put a dumpster out on the corner and say, throw your green waste in it, y'all know what would happen. Right? Everything would go in, right? And then it's just a nightmare for everyone to deal with. And so we can't do that. It would have to be manned full-time during the business day and then sealed off somehow. So we're working with Washoe County Parks. And I think there will be something, and I'm sorry, you're not gonna like this answer. Something at Rancho San Rafael sometime soon that would be available for the public. Something in South Meadows or South Valleys, because there's a maintenance yard that can hold those dumpsters. We don't have Washoe County Parks shares our maintenance yard with the roads department, and there's not room for a dumpster currently. But I just heard that today. I'm taking that feedback, and I would love to plan maybe with Commissioner Herman to plan something for the spring so we could do drop-off events. Other than that, you folks are welcome to bring green waste to the transfer station to Lockwood or to throw it away. You get extra 10 bags?
6 bags every week.
6 bags each week during the month of November and during the month of May. Yes, hi.
What happened to the volunteer fire department doing it, the green waste over there like we did for years?
I'm not a part of the volunteer fire department. I'd be happy to reach out to them and ask. I'm guessing it's a manpower capacity funding challenge. But I would be happy to coordinate with the CAB, with Truckee Meadows Fire, with volunteer fire department, with parks, with WM to make this available, because it's clearly a popular program. And I want more compost in our community for that soil to go back to our parks, to go into gardens, for all the reasons we need compost and mulch throughout the community.
Does anyone have a question that we'd like to ask? No?
I got, this is real simple.
Yes, sir.
So years back, I've lived here 10 or 30 years, in Little Valley 25. I ran all that kind of thing. At one time, there was a bowl grinder on site at Lockwood. That's way back when we used to go to Lockwood and enter the landfill right in. That disappeared. And then they were trucking, if I remember right, going to Sierraville, Loyalton. Remember, I don't know if you remember that. They were doing cogeneration with some chips. Why is that not hit hard enough in this area? That makes compost is one thing. But the stuff that does not compost, say pallets, all that, you go on Craigslist right now, under free or whatever materials. There is numerous. Then you get rid of them, it's thrown out, become trash on the side of the road.
And then the county ends up cleaning them up, and we have to take them to WM. It's a challenge. I apologize. I don't know what a bull grinder is, but it sounds like it's powerful.
Well, they started out, they were used with hay.
Okay.
Maybe insulation, they had bales.
Sure.
And they were throwing it in this bowl, just spins around, it's got knives at the bottom of it. They would grind all that stuff out, they get a pile of going on. They have specific trailers made to do it, much like what SRT hauls. You haul the garbage from the tipping station out here and stuff like that, they got that big belly. That was going on quite some time. And all of a sudden, quit doing it, but I could see it. I used to be tree stumps, that'd be very selective about it. I also hauled to the landfill before it changed owners or whoever's running in Hartford City. Same damn thing there. So all of a sudden, the winds of change come along, and that's kind of backing up.
Earl. Could you please get to the point?
Well, just, I was saying, what I was trying to get across is some of this, the stuff they're talking about, we had a way to do it in the past. Why is that not being revisited to go forward? It's like, the lady's talking about why it changed up. Shipping going to the volunteer fire department side. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for, you know.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Turkey Meadows Fire, I think I'm gonna be giving you a call and let's do some coordination for a future green waste event.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 9, Neighborhood Development Hub and other engagement opportunities.
Awesome. Okay, so Casey McDonald, for the record, we do have we have one upcoming development that's going to be coming on November 18th at 5:30 at the Silver Hills Specific Plan Development Standards Handbook Neighborhood Meeting. That's going to be a virtual meeting, it looks like only, and it looks like it affects Red Rock and Silver Knolls. There is a contact information, an email of for Stacy Huggins, SHUGGINS@woodrogers.com, or her phone number is 775-823-5258. And then the county plan for that is going to be Courtney Wiki. And that's what I have for the neighbor development hub portion of this. And then we do have a couple boarding commission openings I can point to. As well, so there's an opening on the Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board opening. I couldn't find too much specific information, but the term is from December 18th to December 17th, 2029. I assume there's some special requirements to be pointed to that board that you need. And then we also have an Open Space and Parks Commission opening as well. And that term is going from January 1st of 2026 to December 31st of 2029. So if that's something that interests you, please do apply for those. And then, of course, if you want to help promote future CAB topics and ask questions, please do scan the QR codes you can find on these CAB agendas and ask your questions there. You can ask them for any of the different CAB district areas. We'd love to see the feedback. And additionally, I know that I think it got brought up. We're going to try and start announcing any general interest topics from other CABs to current CABs. So had there been cabs before this that I would have told them waste management. This is a great one to come to, even if you're not in North Valleys, you might be able to ask some questions. So this week we have Gerlach's Cab is going to do a presentation on volunteer firefighters, which came up previously. So if that's something, I'm sure you don't want to drive out to Gerlach, but you might zoom in and might maybe be able to ask questions about what it takes to get a volunteer fire department. And so if anything else comes up that are like broad enough for all the different cabs, we're going to start trying to email you cab chairs and cab members to let people know, hey, go to these other cabs. There's topics that affect everyone.
Awesome. All right, we will move on to item number 10, CAB member commissioner announcements, requests, comments. Commissioner Harmon, did you? Okay. Thank you. Do you have anything? No. I have an announcement to make. So tomorrow is Veterans Day, and there is a downtown Reno, there's a Veterans Day parade. And it is parade start time is at 11 a.m. and it starts near the Virginia Bridge and proceeds north on Virginia Street to the 6th Street intersection. It will start with the national anthem near the Virginia Street Bridge. So I will be there, my wife will be there, and hopefully some of you will join us. Yeah, thank you. So we will move on to Item number 11, general public comment. Does anybody have anything they would like to comment on? No? All right. Oh,
I just want everybody to try to help get more people out there. For some reason, Facebook does not want to do my post. I've changed my name and now I have a fake one and I don't know if it's going out, but I get throttled on Facebook and I don't know why. Probably because we've been so involved with the county. But if everybody would think of a way to tell everybody, I mean, I'll be glad. Earl suggested some flyers and just tell more people so we can get more people here and keep these cabs going. So if you've got any suggestions, call me. I'll work it out, but and don't leave you until I want to. That's it.
okay. And yeah, I completely agree. And this cab is a community effort. So the more input you guys give us, the better we can make this for all of us. So, all right. And that is it for public comments. We will move on to item 12, adjournment. I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right. We are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.